Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I missed two very important things I wanted to tell you about. So I've got them on my table now. Um, so I was talking to you about these shells. So we got lots and lots of shells, and I'm going to show them to you real quick. These are what I have left. I've done two art projects already with our shells. This is really hard when it won't let you flip. But I still have a lot left over, and I have another bag of really big shells that I haven't even brought out here. I wanted to make some Christmas ornaments so that when we are putting up our tree, we could remember this wonderful vacation. So when you're working with shells, the first thing you need to do, besides making sure they are extra special clean, and what we did was we soaked them in bleach, water, a long time. I want to say almost overnight. Every night we were at the beach. I had a bucket and I had some bleach tablets, and we would just dump our shells from the beach in the bucket, put the tablets in. The next morning I would get them out and dry them. So we wanted to make sure we didn't bring home any bugs. So you got to make sure when you're working with shells that they are clean. But once you make sure they're clean, the next thing you want to do is you want to buy some of this stuff. This is just a glaze. This is Krylon's version. It's a clear coat. And what this does is it makes the shells look wet, which is a really cool thing when you're going to work with shells. I don't know if you can see. I'm putting a couple in my hand. Let me flip them over so you can see. Well, here's one. Can you see that? There we go. Can you see how it looks shiny and wet? Yeah. Okay, that's what it does. It gives it a luster, and it makes it look shiny and wet so that when you are working with them, they don't look dull. And because you don't want your shells to look dull, you want them to look shiny and vibrant. So the very first craft is a very easy craft you can do with any kid at any age. What you need is one of these, which I got at Michael's. These are a Christmas ornament that has been sliced in half and connects together, okay? The next thing you need is some sand. Also found at Michael's in aisle 11. The first lady told me they didn't have it, but the second lady knew where it was. So sand, and then you need your shells. What you're gonna do, it's so easy. It's so easy. I'm still trying to flip the phone. Is you're going to put your sand in your ornament, put your shells in your ornament, and when you're done, it looks like this. Put your ornament together. You can put a little ribbon on the top and write down your memory. I wrote down Myrtle Beach 2018. There you go. You can see behind me another shell thing I made. See, I'll show this real quick to you. See this M? See, that's made out of shells. And we're going to talk about what I used to make that in a minute, because we're going to make some ornaments out of the same thing. But I didn't know that was going to show up behind me. But anyway, back to this ornament. Very simple. You can do it with any kids. Takes like 5 minutes. So if you're going to do this with a bunch of kids, make sure that you've got something else planned, because they go fast. That's the first thing that you can make with shells. The second thing I'm going to show you is to wire wrap. We got this really cool shell. I don't know if you can see it. See, it's like a conch shell, but it's an itty bitty one. And what I did was I took it and I wrapped some gold wire around it, and then I attached another. There's a lot of these kind of flat shells on that beach, so I attached that wire to it. What you'll need to do a project like this is some wrapping wire. You do need some wrapping wire tools. Well, that light's making me look crazy. This one was the one I used to make the kind of the corkscrewy thing coming down from the wire wrap. The other tool that I used is this one right here. This one helped to make the loops to attach the two shells together. I'm going to try to put the phone down so I can kind of show you how to make this. All right, can you guys see me? Yeah, you can see me. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your wire find the end. And you're going to measure out, I'd say about 10 inches, maybe a little less. You can tell I do this a lot. I know about where 10 inches is. Okay. And then you're going to take your first shell, which I'm going to start with the bigger one. And you want to start wrapping from the top. And you want to leave, I don't know if you can see, about that much give room, because you're going to want to make a loop and you're going to want to have room to trim. So about that much. And then you just, with your fingers, just wrap the wire however you want around the shell. This shell didn't get lustered, so it's not as shiny as some of the others. I didn't get them all done. So you're about like that. Then with your remainder, you're going to take, I used my fingers and I used this tool. So you want to go around the wide end. See the wide end? You see how it gets wider as you get closer to the prongs? Yeah, okay, cool. And you're just going to kind of wrap that around a couple times. Slide it off, so now you've got a little loop. And then I took my fingers, held that loop tight, and just kind of wrapped it a few more times. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but I don't know it yet. If you know a better way to do this, put it in the comments. Joey Kiki, you probably know a better way to do this. Oops, I just made a bend. Hang on. So I just kind of wrapped it with my fingers a few times till I got my little spring. See my little spring? And then I kind of very carefully, there, stretched it out a little. This is not going to be anywhere near as pretty as the first one. That's okay. Our cat's come to join us again. You might see a cat face in the picture at any time. She's behind there, kind of being nosy. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make this as pretty. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take your second piece. And then, actually what I did was I wrapped them separately. So take another piece of wire. Maybe not as long this time, maybe more like 5-6 inches. And wrap it around your other shell. Tuck in your end. You're going to make a loop at the top. So using this tool, you're just going to make a round loop. So it looks kind of like that. And then I used a jump ring or a loop to attach them. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of not working right now because it's all tangled. But there is a jump rope there that kind of is attaching them together. And then that's how you make that. Now this is a project that's probably good for like a 9, 10, and above. Because you are having to do the wire wrapping. But they love this. We did glass wrapping at Caritas this year, and I cannot tell you how many of the youth enjoyed that class. That was Joey Kiki's class. So so kids love this kind of thing. It's a really fun craft to do. The next thing I'm going to show you, this is my favorite, and this is kind of how I made the M behind me. So if you buy some of this stuff, first of all, I'm going to tell you it lasts forever. I'm working on a can of this stuff that I've had probably for 4 years now. If you keep it sealed, it lasts forever. Hang on. Quit playing with the shells. The other thing, the cat's playing with the shells. The other thing is, no! It didn't break. The other thing is, you can do so many cool things with it. So what I'm talking about is, if I can lift it up, it's heavy. This stuff right here, it's called Thin Set Mortar. Buy it at Lowe's, and you see how much I have, and I've only used that much, and I've made at least 5 projects with this stuff, so it doesn't take a lot, and it's so much fun to play with. We had a birthday party when my daughter turned 11. That was a mermaid party, and we made seashell crafts, and we made picture frames where we put seashells all around it. We used this stuff. 6 kids, and I still barely used it. This stuff does smell. So if you're going to do this project with your children, it does smell. Do it in a ventilated area. And it doesn't stain, but it dries hard. So make sure they're wearing a smock. If it gets on their hands, it washes right off. So the first project I made with this, I made some ornaments. I went to Michael's, and they were almost completely out of wooden ornaments. I got the very last wooden ornament, very last one. So I also got a plaster ornament. I made this. See, it says Joy. And this is so much fun. So what you do, what I did to make this one, we're going to make the Christmas tree in a second, but what I did to do this one is I took glue, this is glue, and I wrote Joy, and I took sand, and I sprinkled it over and let it dry. Then, I should have done this part first, do this first. I wrote on the back, Myrtle Beach 2018. Do that first, then make your Joy. Let that dry. Then I made my seashells all nice and shiny. Took the mortar. You want to apply it with either a spatula or a, what do they call it, popsicle stick, or I used a plastic knife. And it's like you're buttering your bread or putting peanut butter on your bread. You just spread it. I spread it around the edges, and then I do one section at a time because it's easier. Not that it dries faster, it's just less messy. So I did the top section, then I did the sides, and I did the bottom. And then once you spread it on, you just stick your shells in there. You just stick them right in. And then you let it dry, and then it looks beautiful. So we're going to do the same thing with this one right here. Now, I will tell you, if you are going to do this craft, make sure your back, whatever you're putting it on, is wood or something sturdy, like I used the plaster here. You also want to make sure it's white because this dries white, so it's going to look white, so it's going to be white on top of white. White on top of something else might look kind of funky, so you might want to stick with white. So you got your piece, you've written on the back of it what you want to write. You're going to take your mortar, take your spatula, and you're going to get a nice glob of mortar on there, and then I'm going to start at the top of the tree. You're just going to spread it on the tree. Now, I said it doesn't dry fast. I mean, it doesn't dry right away. It does dry within about 2 hours. And you can move them once you put them in there, but you want it kind of thick because you want the shells to have something to grab onto. You don't want to spread it thin. You want it kind of like you really like your peanut butter on your peanut butter and jelly sandwich, okay? So once you've got your mortar spread on, see I've got it on the top of the tree, and you want to do it in sections. You're going to take your seashells. Now I wanted to use these really little seashells. I don't know if you can see them. I had them on the Joy too. But they are just so beautiful. God makes the most beautiful things, and I think these shells were such a blessing that we found so many and so many beautiful ones. And then all you're going to do, I'm going to try to do it so you can see me, is you just kind of take it and you just kind of press them in. And you take it and you kind of press it in. And that's all you're doing. And you can make them look however you want to. And you press them in. And then when you've got it all covered, you let it dry for about 2 to 3 hours, sometimes in the sun, it doesn't up to, and when you're done, you have a beautiful, beautiful shell ornament. So that's all I've got. That's how we've decided to commemorate our vacation with ornaments, and how the different Christmas traditions that we do that are easy in our family. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you try some. Please let me know if you try some, especially if you try the hand tree skirt. That is my favorite, and I love it. And if you're memorable like me and you like to keep memories, that's such a great. Other than that, I hope you guys are blessed and have a wonderful Christmas.